Hey, Big Five family. Welcome back to episode 10 of Pass the Word. I'm MC2 Bradley Ricard, back from some well-needed R&R, and I'm here with MC2 Alicia Gleason and MM3 Pacheco. So we're just going to dive right into it and introduce MM3 Pacheco. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're here?
My name is MM3 Pacheco, Ralphie Pacheco. I'm from Tucson, Arizona, and I'm here because I'm also a professional MMA fighter. And I just recently fought and represented the U.S. Navy and the baton in a thing called Desert Duels, which is Battle of the Armed Forces in Las Vegas at the UFC APAC Center, where it's a bunch of different branches, or all the branches, I should say, Army and the Marines and the Air Force, and us, the Navy, all going head to head in a tournament.
I think that's pretty cool. So tell us about the process. How did you get selected to represent the Navy at this fight?
So I didn't know about it until a buddy of mine who's also, the tournament itself is, I found out is half of the people were active duty and half of them were all veterans. So I didn't know that. I thought most of them were active duty. Mm-hmm. A buddy of mine who was in the Navy, and I also trained with him in Arizona, and we also both trained together with Dominic Cruz, who's a former UFC bantamweight champion. He was in the Navy, and so he was on the team. So the organization reached out to me, and they emailed me and they said, "Hey, we don't know if you know, but Orlando's out. He got hurt. We want you to take his spot." So my buddy's the one that told them about me because we trained together. So he told them about me. They reached out to me, and I said, "Absolutely." So that's how I found out.
No, that's a really cool, huge opportunity. How long have you been fighting?
I started fighting in 2010. I wrestled all throughout high school. I started boxing when I was 16 and started mixed martial arts in 2010. So I've been doing it for quite a while.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I know that Captain Head was cheering you on. He had a little bit of fighting history as well. But the baton is actually, I know that a lot of us were watching the fight and excited to see how you did. I wanted to see if you could tell us a little bit about the training and leading up to the fight. What were you doing and how was your schedule?
So the ship was really cool. They were really lenient about it as far as letting me be able to train and have time to train. The captain, like you said, loved it. He's a wrestler himself. I'm also a wrestling coach here in Virginia. I'm a high school wrestling coach. I'm at a school called Maury High School, so I'm the assistant head coach over there as well. And I'm also the head wrestling coach at a place called Diego Bispo Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Academy in Virginia Beach, where I currently train jiu-jitsu. So the training for this was a grappling tournament. So it was a grappling tournament, which is jiu-jitsu. So the training for this was I would come to work, and then train when I got off. But I left for Arizona 2 weeks before the tournament to train out there. When I train for a fight, whether it's jiu-jitsu, wrestling, MMA, I'm working out, training about 3 to 4 times a day, about 6 days a week, 8 to 9 hours a day.
No, that's awesome.
So like when I was in Arizona, my daily routine would be, I'd wake up, I'd go do my morning run, which would be anywhere from like 3 to 7 mile run. I'd go to strength conditioning at 11 a.m., about 11, 12 a.m., go to wrestling practice from like 3 to 5, and then I'd go do jiu-jitsu from, 7 to 9.
Okay. Wow.
That's a busy schedule.
That's a busy day.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome.
You're very motivated.
Then you go home, eat, sleep, wake up, and do it all over again.
So how would you say you find the balance between your Navy career and then it seems like this is like something you're really passionate about, your fighting career?
Yeah, it is. Especially like, being a coach and an athlete myself, it's definitely hard to be a competitor, let alone be a coach and a competitor. So I tell people, when they ask me, some of my shipmates, how do you find time to do it? I just find the time. Some people like to sleep 10 hours a day. I sleep less because I'd rather sacrifice my sleep time to train, work out, give back, coach, so that's what I do. My typical day when I'm here on the ship is I'm going from the ship straight to practice. Yesterday, my kids at the high school had to practice from 3 to 5. I'd get off the ship, go straight to the high school, coach. Then when I get done coaching, it's time for me to train. So then I drive over to Virginia Beach and I train from, 6:37 to about 9 o'clock.
Wow.
Go home. And then when I go home, I still gotta eat and lift.
Right.
Because I still gotta work out myself. So I'm usually in the gym at like 9, 10 o'clock at night to about 11, 12, or about 11. Work out for about an hour and a half. I'm in bed by like 12, wake up at 5.
There you go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into the nitty gritty of your competition that you just did.
Yeah.
So tell us how many fights you did, what was the outcome, and how was the experience overall for you?
So the experience overall was very, very cool. I have tons, like I said, me being an MMA fighter, I have tons of friends that are currently in the UFC, and I've trained with a lot of guys that are currently in the UFC or out of the UFC, like my friend Dominic Cruz. I've been around guys like him, Henry Cejudo, who's an Olympic gold medalist and was also the UFC flyweight and bantamweight champion. Former UFC bantamweight champion Sean O'Malley. Me and him were supposed to fight in 2014, believe it or not, and he turned the fight down against me because he didn't want to fight a wrestler.
Oh.
So Brandon Moreno, who's also a good friend of mine, we came up as amateurs together. So I know a lot of guys, good guys that are in the UFC. So I was always around that world. Before the Navy, before I joined the Navy, I was around that world. I was actually training with Dominic Cruz to fight Henry Cejudo at the time I joined the Navy. Like, I literally left training camp. He flew me to Phoenix. I went to MEPS, did MEPS, swore in, flew me back the very next morning to continue training. So being in this grappling tournament, it was at the UFC Apex, it was very cool because, like I said, I've been around that world, so I was already kind of used to it, but I've never actually been in it myself where I was the one competing. So it was cool to actually be there, and this time I'm there to compete. Dana White was there. You're around all the the UFC environment, so that was very cool itself. I had 3 matches myself. So the tournament was called Quantum style, which is just how they do, it's basically like team versus team. So like if you do like a high school wrestling team, it's the whole team, a group of like 5-10 guys versus 5-10 guys. So for this tournament, each team had 5 guys, supposed to be all different weight classes. I had 3 matches. I went 1 and 2. So the outcome wasn't what I wanted, but just the experience itself to be there, be in the UFC environment, being on TV, was awesome itself. Like I said, it was just an incredible experience. And even though I didn't do as good as I wanted to, I still got an invite back to compete in the organization again.
See,
in the next event. So so that's awesome. I'm like, and I'm the only one that the UFC itself did an interview with after the whole thing was over.
Really?
So I was like, I wasn't even the best competitor there. Like, other guys did better than me, but they chose me to interview. They chose me to go back, so I feel pretty good about that.
Yeah, that's killer.
That's super cool.
So, you said before that it was all branches of DoD that you were competing
so
with?
like I said, it was a thing called Desert Duels, Battle of the Armed Forces at the UFC Apex. So it was, Team Army versus Team Navy versus Team Air Force versus Team Navy. So I beat the Marines, I lost to the Army, and I lost to the Air Force.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I'm mad about that one. But my dad's retired Air Force, so that kind of made him happy. Not that I lost, but like happy that the Air Force won, because they actually won. But I was like, these guys got more time to train. They don't do anything.
Right, I was literally gonna say, how did the Air Force win against like Navy, Army, Marines? But
I know, right?
Yeah,
you're right. Maybe they do.
Maybe
have
they
just
just have more time.
What's funny is they thought the Marines were gonna win, but the Marines actually got dominated.
Really?
They lost every single match. Two of their guys went to the hospital.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wait, so what was the ranking?
We were all
Like,
devil dogs.
would you say like the Navy came in like second?
Oh yeah, we made it to the finals. So,
Really?
Yeah.
Okay,
So
awesome.
we were in the finals. It was us and Team Air Force. And in the tournament itself, like groups, like it's a 5-on-5. I think we went 2 and 3.
Okay.
So we lost overall, but we did come in second overall in the tournament.
That's
Okay.
awesome.
So
Was there like any prizes or anything? Like what was
I didn't know there was gonna be prizes. There was, but there wasn't. The winning team actually got a bottle of tequila from the UFC itself.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah, so they all got free tequila, so free alcohol.
There you go.
Again, what's funny is, like I said, we didn't win, and I didn't win against the Air Force, but I got an invite back, and I got to do an interview with the UFC, and they gave me a bottle of tequila.
There you go.
All right, so
That's
you won in the
fantastic.
end.
You
Yeah.
won in the
Yeah,
end.
the
That's
promoter
what
was like,
matters.
"Hey, you're gonna come back. We want you back, and here's a bottle, and we're gonna do an interview with you."
Oh man, I wanted to ask, do you know any of the other Navy competitors?
I do. So one of them, his name is Mitch Aguilar. He actually lives and trains here in Chesapeake, Virginia. He owns a
Oh.
gym called Violent Hippie, and he's also a former Navy SEAL.
Okay, wow.
Wow, that's actually pretty cool.
No, that
You
is
said
cool.
he's a veteran?
Yeah, he is a veteran. He did 10 years and got out.
Okay.
But he's a cool, really great, nice guy. Him and his wife were really nice to me and my dad. Like I said, he lives and trains here at his gym. And the guy I lost to in the Army, actually, super nice guy. His name is Colton Smith, former tough champ, current UFC fighter, Special Forces sniper. He lives in Alexandria, Virginia, and he invited me to come train with him, which is really cool.
That's really cool.
So,
No,
That's awesome.
that's a really unique and intense community to be a part of. Not only like military, but professional fighting. But I just wanted to thank you for joining us today on Pass the Word, episode 10.
yeah, I do want to say real quick. So I spoke to the captain at the Chiefs pinning.
Yeah.
And I guess he was telling me that Big Five is going to be starting. I guess he wants to get a bunch of mats and put them up on the roof of the barge. And they're going to be starting like mixed martial arts, like grappling, wrestling program here on the barge. And I'm going to be running it.
You're going to be in charge of it?
Yeah, I guess
When do
I'm
you
going to be in
think
charge
that's
of
gonna
it.
start?
I don't know. Like I said, he was telling me about it, and it's kind of, it's cool. And I was like, how am I going to find out about it? He's like, do you want to do that? I was like, absolutely. He's like, you still training? Of course. I never stop. I was like, how am I going to find out more information? And he's like, you're going to be running it.
There you go.
So I was like, cool.
Oh, that's
so he'll
killer.
let me know. When he lets me know, I'll let everybody else know.
All right.
Yes.
And I'm sure I'll make an announcement, pass the word.
Yeah, we'll put it out on Pass the Word.
But
once again, thank you for joining us, MM3. All right, make sure that you follow us on all of our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, SoundCloud, and Spotify, and share us with your friends and family.
Yes,
I'm
thank
MC2
you.
Ricard.
And I'm MC2 Gleason.
thank
This
you,
has
everybody,
been,
for having me here.
But this has been episode 10 of Pass the Word.